wake up, hit 100 push-ups, then I'm at my route. Check on my stocks, see how they looking, then I'm sliding out. When you start seeing your progression, you stop having doubts. And what's the point of having clout if you can't cash it out? True to this game, but I'm a lifer, ayy. Feel like we finna change the cycle, ayy.
Welcome back, wealthy people, to another great installment of the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. It's your boy, your man's David Ballard, one half of the Black Wealth Renaissance crew. You know what we do. I'm here with my brother from another, Jalen. Was am with it.
What's down with it, my brother? How you doing, man? Doing great today. Feeling lovely. If you see me, I'm dressed to impress. I feel
My
like
boy
I'm,
say he on his suit and
yeah,
tie-ish today.
yeah, feeling good. I like to wear button downs and ties. Used to do it a lot in college. Started getting back to it. Actually, like Dion said, man, look good, feel good, play good, man.
You better pie good, man. You better
Yes,
not put
sir.
Prime to shame when you gonna
On
quote him
pie
now.
good too. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. But man, I'm doing fantastic. You know how it go, man. It's a great Tuesday. I had a good weekend. Got to
What you
go
do for
home,
the
see the
weekend?
fam, man. Got to go home, see the fam. Got to do some country stuff. So all about it, I know. You've been listening to the show. You know, we some country boys from Louisiana. So every year, my family we do a butchery. A boucherie is what it's called, and we kill a hog, and we make a bunch of different meat. So we make boudin, crackling, stuff like that, and it's always just a real good time. Really really kind of helps center and put stuff back into perspective, man. A lot of times, we get so caught up in this modern world where we so used to going to the grocery store and getting stuff, and we don't really know where our food come from. So a lot of my family, sometimes they're like the women in my family, they'll be like, ah man, that's gruesome. Why y'all doing that? This, that, and the third. That's nasty. But you'll go to the store and pick up a pack of pork chops and don't think nothing of it. Um, with this, you know where it's coming from, and you get some real life skills. Cause man, you don't know what you gonna do if they close the grocery store down tomorrow. What you gonna eat? Beans and rice? You don't know you don't know how to do it. So I'm just saying, like you gotta make sure those skills are kept. So I had a good weekend, man. I got to spend time with my pops, with cousins, family, and really just bond over a family tradition. Something I plan on keep going. What about you, man? How was your weekend?
Man, my weekend was work, work, and more work, bro. I wanted to speak on your
Work,
boucherie.
don't stop.
Yeah, your boucherie. I've never participated in a boucherie yet. But as Will Haggins calls it, that's your ritualistic sacrifice of the hog. That's
Hey man,
hilarious.
look, everybody call it a ritual till they want some boudin crackling, and next thing you know, it ain't no ritual no more. It's like, hey man, let me get some of that, man. That crackling, that stuff be good, dog. That boudin be good.
Everybody gonna be like, Boudin, what y'all eating, booty? No,
Crazy work.
It's a Cajun sausage, guys. That's the best way to describe it. A Cajun sausage filled
If
with
you ain't never
rice and
had it
meat.
and you're
Yeah.
not in Louisiana, I recommend Louisiana or Texas or like a bordering state. Don't get it. Just like gumbo, don't get it from one of these states. If you somewhere in Connecticut and somebody tell you they serving some gumbo, you ain't getting the real deal, homie.
Yeah. Unless
But
they
indeed,
like just moved from Louisiana type shit.
exactly. But indeed, y'all, as always, we got a great show planned for y'all today. Y'all know what we need though. Y'all make sure y'all leave us that 5-star rating and review. It helps us grow
Speaking
the
of
show.
that, we actually have a new rating
Oh,
on
let's
the
get it, let's
pod.
get it, let's get it, let's get it. This what I like to
Yes,
hear.
sir.
People talking
Um,
about the pod.
my app asking me for crazy stuff. All right. Last rating. Let's see. So rating
Who
was
we what we
from
got? What we got? Who we got?
March 18th, and it's Ty SM87. Ty
Shout out,
SM87, shout out.
shout out,
Uh
shout out.
is best knowledgeable podcast. Hey BWR family. I'm happily leaving a 5-star review for these fellas. They really understand how to break down the financial information for anyone to understand. I know I'm not the only one out here with ADHD. These
I'm
guys
right there
really
with you.
make these guys really make me settle down and pay attention to the gems they're putting throughout this podcast. This last gem about paying the daily interest on the car loans was a game changer. Thank you fellas for holding us down out here in the financial literacy. I'm glad y'all are back. We need you out here. Much success. Deuces. Hey, thank you so much, Ty.
Appreciate you, Ty. Appreciate you, Ty.
Thank you for real.
Man, so listen, y'all. As always, we got a great show planned for y'all today. Make sure y'all leave us those rating and reviews. Like we said, those help us grow the show, and we take all feedback that you provide. Right, any feedback that you give us, we take that to heart. We take it into consideration, and we use it to grow. Because
Just
we here to
like
get
we're
the people
trying
what they
not to
need.
cuss.
Hey man, look, I'm not even bringing it up. I done said ish in by 3 substitutions so far. Last week we got off the rails, but we trying to keep it right this week. So y'all wish me luck.
Yeah, if I do have to like cuss and wild out, I'm gonna just do like I did last time. I'm just gonna say it, give y'all a little warning. I'm about to cuss. Just hit the skip button.
Oh Lord. But all right, man, let's get into it. First topic of the day, man. And the first topic of the day is gonna be the erosion of the American middle class, right?
Ooh,
So this is something that's been going on for a while. We kind of talked about it, but not really like in depth. But as time has gone on, we've seen the de-evolution of the American middle class, right? It's getting to the point now where in most states, if you make 160K a year, you're still considered a part of the middle class. So you're upper middle class, but you're a part of the middle class. When six figures used to be this big benchmark that would kind of put you
in the
over
upper echelon,
the upper
1%.
echelons. Now we starting to see that people who make six figures, multiple six figures, there are people making 200K a year still living check to check. And with the rise in the cost of living, we've seen a lot of people kind of speculate on the direction that we're heading, right? With wages wages being stagnant, the cost of living going up, is really squeezing the American middle class, and that idea of upward mobility is kind of vanishing in front of our eyes. And I think it is interesting because recently there was a survey that was put out where the United States actually ranked as the 24th happiest country in the world, which is the lowest it's ever been in history. And that is out of 140 developed nations. So as you can see, like as things are getting harder for people every day in the United States, the average quality of lifestyle is decreasing, right? People don't feel like their dollar goes as far, and people in the middle class are really the ones that are feeling that stress, right?
Mhm.
We are the middle class are the ones that are feeling like it's either going to be rich or poor, and it's not going to be a middle class anymore. But I think it's an interesting point because realistically, the idea of the middle class is relatively new. Like if we
Mm.
really think about the grand scheme of history of nations, it hasn't really been a concept that many people were able to afford a comfortable lifestyle with a salary. For the most of history, if you read books, you know there was rich and there was poor. From the time of the past to now, it was rich and it's poor. And yeah, Jalen just pulled it up, but we got an interesting clip we want to just share that kind of like speaks to this a little bit. I'm gonna let my brother play it.
Listen, the last 70 years are not normal, Stephen. The last 70 years are not normal. The last 70 years in Europe and the US, where ordinary people like my dad could work for the post office on less than average wage and buy a house and support a family, it's not normal. It's not normal in the world, and it's not normal in history. Most countries in the world are not like that. Most countries have a small super rich elite and a very large group of extremely poor people. That's most of the country, and it's most of history in this country, and it's most of history in the US. We talk about Charles Dickens. I read Hard Times. And this is written in the 19th century when Britain was like the industrial superpower of the whole world. And at the time, the government was talking about, should we tax these industrialists? And the industrialists were saying, if you tax us, we'll throw our factories into the sea. And it just reminds me, the only time we've ever really been able to provide decent living conditions for ordinary working people was the period after the war where we massively redistributed wealth. And now we're losing that holding of wealth of the middle class.
Can you acknowledge, though, that was a completely different time as it relates to being able to...
It was a different time, but, I could, you know,
Because of technology.
Nigeria today, Brazil today, the UK 300 years ago, France 200 years ago. There is only one specific time that we have ever successfully provided broad living standards for ordinary people, and it was a period of time where we protected a broadly equal wealth distribution and taxed the rich at very high rates. Listen,
Mm.
Mm.
I ain't gonna lie
So,
to you. Whenever I watched that clip, I definitely was like, bro, kind of making some sense. Because then
bro,
whenever you think about history, right? Whenever you think about history, once again, up until about the two world wars, you're in the Great Depression, and before the Great Depression, yeah, you had like the Roaring Twenties and everything
mhm.
like that, right? But before that, it wasn't really much like it was
It
either.
wasn't. It wasn't before Henry Ford came up with, the assembly line and drove the price of cars down. Like there were certain things that we are accustomed to as a standard of living that was exclusively reserved for wealthy people. And over time things got democratized, and I think what was the most important thing, and shout out to the guy in the clip, his name is Gary's Economics. I've been kind of following him on YouTube. He makes some good points. I will say that he's kind of leftist in his thoughts, but he makes some good points.
The white
And
guy or the black guy that I was talking?
the white guy.
Gotcha.
The black dude is Steven. He actually has a great podcast. If you never heard of Stephen Bartlett, I believe his name is Diary of a CEO. Great podcast. If you never checked it out, I think you should. He interviews high performing entrepreneurs and investors, similar to us, but we made a little pivot. But I digress. Yeah, but like to Gary's point in that clip, right? The last 70 years aren't normal. So to what Jalen was saying, really what led to the massive redistribution of wealth that he's talking about was World War II. World War II is what established America as a global superpower. It is what led us to being the reserve currency. It is where we usurped Europe as that lead in the
Yep.
world in
Mhm.
terms of military power. And on the back end of that, right, coming out of the Depression, a lot of these policies and programs that he's referring to when they taxed the rich heavily was from FDR and the New Deal. And it's interesting because whenever we think about taxes now, we complain about taxes all the time. But at that time, they were taxing wealthy people hard, much, much harder than what we receive in terms of taxes now. I didn't pull up the exact figure, but in previous research, I want to say
So
that the
look,
tax rate was above 50%.
I'll let you look that up. I kind of want to explain why, you know, post World War II, we were able to start amassing wealth and establish a middle class, right? So, post World War II, during war times, the US was all hands on deck, right? Everyone was working towards war efforts. That was man, woman, and children who were not on the front lines. So that means that the government contracted a lot of these newer companies like Ford, Willys. Willys is actually who produced the Jeep. And then they were purchased by Dodge and all of that. But then Ford, Willys, a lot of these industrial companies, they were creating different machinery. They were manufacturing all of these things, right? So during the time of war, you have a really, really large ramp up of production and industrialization. And then post war, what happens, right? The need for all of that machinery to be produced naturally would have fallen. But what they did was they just retrofitted a lot of their manufacturing facilities to where now, because you have so many soldiers coming home, they established the what is it, the GI Bill, to allow
Mm-hmm.
all of those people that were coming home from the war to be able.
Non-black people.
Yes, non-black people. I was actually going to get into that. The GI Bill for them to start purchasing homes within the suburbs, that's whenever you start to see suburban areas actually start to sprawl up. You start to see creation of what you know now as like subdivisions and all of these things, right? These houses are being built. Once again, there's a GI Bill, and then the counterpart to that GI Bill is actually redlining was created the same time. So while there were black soldiers that fought in the war who came home thinking that they were going to get a GI Bill, who was going to say, hey, I can own a home and I can purchase a home with $0 out of pocket. I just have to pay my mortgage. The government was like, but not really, Playboy. Yeah, we appreciate y'all, but not really. So then they literally took a red pen and they marked out, hey, these are the areas y'all can purchase in. These are the areas that y'all cannot purchase in. These are the zip codes that y'all can purchase in. The zip codes that a lot that are now located adjacent to what we know as downtown to a lot of these major cities in America right now. If you ever pay attention to our hoods and everything, that is due to redlining. And I actually watched a movie recently. It's called The Banker, which we'll get into a little bit later, but they actually discuss redlining in there. And that movie actually kind of played a part of breaking redlining and kind of blurring the lines of black ownership within white areas. So with you have all of these things happening post-war, right? That's why they're called the boomers. Boomers came home. It's a lot of
During the
money.
boom.
Yeah,
They were born during the boom.
it's a lot of money being injected into the economy. Once again, we're coming out of the Great Depression. How long did the Great Depression last? Like 9, 10 years?
39, I think it was till
It started
1939 or something like
I
that.
think it started like 1929 to
Yeah, I think
39.
I want to say it lasted for like a decade or
Yeah, I think it's about 10
around a
years.
decade.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you're coming out of that, right? You have the First World War, and then you have the Second World War. Then you have all of these things happening. So, America's living on this euphoric high. Once again, you don't even have the credit system that's a thing right now. We're still going by the gold standard. All of these things are happening. So, it's just
Operating at an economic surplus.
yeah, like all of these things are happening. It's looking great. Um, so that's where you get that creation of the middle class.
Exactly, right. And to speak to that some more, right? Part of what also helped create that middle class is government investment. So appreciate you kind of taking over so I could kind of get to this information, right? When it comes to the tax rates that I was referring to, during the time of the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, the the tax rate for wealthy individuals, people earning over $200,000 a year, which is a north equivalent of north of $2 million a year in today's cash. The tax rate on paper for them was 91%, and after loopholes and effective rates, it ended up being about 42% is what they ended up paying on taxes in actuality. Which, when you compare that to today, the effective tax rate for a lot of these people and the amount of loopholes that are available for wealthy people, they pay a much lower tax rate, right? And as we discussed on a prior episode, the way the government generates revenue is not through business endeavors, it is through tax revenue. So these revenues were the same things that they used to subsidize the programs that created the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
So the middle class is a byproduct of government investment. And with the current economic environment, we talking about government divestment from the public. The future looks bleak for the middle class at the current state, right? Because if we don't have subsidies and programs, and a big part of that too was part of FDR's plan, right? With the New Deal, private corporations weren't providing people jobs during the economic downturn. So the government created jobs. And on the flip side, right now, we're risking an economic downturn and the government is actively cutting and reducing jobs. So it just creates this kind of dichotomy where you see that where a little less than 100 years ago, the middle class was created through investment by the government. Now we seeing that the squeeze is really on in this dissolution, and we've said it before and we'll say it again. Now is more important than ever for you to be on top of it when it comes to your finances. I know a lot of times, you hear the YOLO mentality. You want to make sure you enjoy and live, and you should do those things, but you should only do them within reason. We're gonna get into a couple other topics later that show, people living above their means. And we really want you guys to understand that, like, hey, just because you got it don't mean you have to spend it, because realistically, the current economic environment that we're in, you need to make sure you're preserving capital and putting cash on the sideline so that you can take advantage whenever shit actually hits the fan. The markets have had like a tumultuous part of the year so far. The first 3 months of the year have been rough in the markets, right? Crypto and stocks, but those still create buying opportunities. And if you have cash on the sidelines, you can be one of the people that benefit. Obviously, you won't benefit as much as wealthy investors because they have more money.
Yeah.
But who's to say you shouldn't still participate just because you aren't ultra wealthy? You can still take part in the wealth transfers that occur during those times, because a part of it, I think, that we often don't discuss is that with wealthy individuals, there is a lot of entitlement in the children. I think the Vanderbilt family is a great example. James Vanderbilt was one of the wealthiest men in America. 3 generations later, his family was broke.
Squander it all away.
They blew that shit. They blew it.
You didn't cuss twice. I'm just saying. I'm keeping count.
I only thought it was once.
No, it was twice. You cussed like maybe 5 minutes right before this.
Dang. It's just coming off my tongue, man. I'm sorry, guys.
Pause. Yo, that was crazy. Anyways, the Vanderbilts, they blew it all.
Yeah, the Vanderbilts, they blew all that money. And with that, right, the way economies work, buyers and sellers, commerce, guns and butter. Are you a buyer or a seller? If you position yourself in a way, I think my camera cut off. I'm good.
I still see you.
Okay.
But now
It has shuttered.
okay.
I just edited it out. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, if you're positioning yourself to be a person who is an owner of equities that own companies that people are buying, or you own stakes in companies, you can benefit. But you have to own something before, and you have to be willing to hold and ride out through those tough economic times. And I get that's easier said than done in many cases, but that is the blueprint. If you want to build wealth, you need to buy assets when people are running away from them. And the only way you can buy assets when everybody's running is by having cash.
Facts. You said something earlier. I'm trying to remember what exactly it was that I wanted to pinpoint on.
Well, look, while you got that thought, you waiting on it, let me just run this little clip for everybody, because I thought this was comical. But there's some truth to it, right?
Got you.
Let's see here. Let me get this.
DJ, play that crap.
That's crazy.
Because your nickname is really DJ.
You need help, man. All right. So this is just something on Instagram I thought was funny.
Life of a middle-class brokey. The first thing I do when I wake up is I throw on my designer jeans that I just bought with my credit card. Then I head into work in my car that costs me $600 a month and takes up 20% of my entire budget. I hate making coffee at home, so on the way to work I stop by Starbucks and I get myself a $6 coffee. At work, I get a call from my friend inviting me to go on vacation with him and a couple other buddies, and even though I have some credit card debt, I decide to use my credit card to book the trip. Then it's off to lunch at my favorite restaurant, Chipotle, where I eat every single day, because who has the time to go grocery shopping, cook, and clean up after themselves like an adult? Right now, it's March Madness, so instead of being productive at work, I decide to place a few bets and lose $50. By the time I get home from work, I am beat, and even though I do have some food in my fridge, Instead of cooking up dinner, I decided to hop on to Uber Eats and order myself some grub. I love that they partnered with Klarna because it means that instead of spending $25, I can spread out my payments to $10 across 4 months. Then I hit on the delivery girl. I end my day scrolling Instagram telling people that it is impossible to get ahead in this economy. Day the life of a middle class.
That's hilarious, bro.
So it's hilarious, but
it's a
jokes
lot of
contain
truth.
some truth. You know what I'm
It's a lot
saying?
of truth
All
in there.
good jokes contain some truth. And in there, right, a lot of times we talk about the economy, we talk about how things are difficult, but we don't like to evaluate our own lifestyles. And I've said it before, we don't like to cut back our lifestyles. Lifestyles are like the prices that companies charge. They rise like an elevator and fall like a feather. You don't want to decrease your lifestyle at any point because it feels like you're losing. You're losing something. But although this example is extreme, right? This is reality for a lot of people. It's people that's broke, ain't got no money, door dashing every day. What are you doing? You ain't got no money. Why?
We're gonna talk about that.
Tweaking.
That's gonna be a segue into the next topic. I do want to speak on one thing that he spoke about, and that was car payments taking up 20% of your income. That's also another killer of the middle class, right? These high car payments. He was actually very generous with the car payment being $600.
Yeah, the average is what, $700?
Like $700,
$750, I think?
$800, yeah, $700 borderline $800 for a car payment these days, right? That's ridiculous. That's preposterous, actually. Because once again, what are you doing? Like, why are you paying so much for a car note? It just doesn't make sense.
I need a car to go to work, Jalen.
I mean,
I have to have transportation. I have to have
understand
reliable
that.
transportation.
But whenever we're budgeting for a car, 20% of your income, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy work, man. That's what's keeping a lot of us in that loop. And I'm talking, but I came out of it. Like,
Yeah.
I had a truck
Yeah.
note between my truck and my insurance. I was paying about $650 total.
Bro, actually, no. Now that we on this topic, it just made me think about a very extreme example that my little cousin gave me this weekend. So
Please don't tell me nothing crazy, man.
no, bro, this is insane, bro. So one of his coworkers, right? My cousin was just telling me, man, this dude is dumb, bro. This is one of the dumbest dudes I ever met in life, right? So, bro, worked for the National Guard. He make decent money, you know what I'm saying? He went and financed a Hellcat.
Oh, man, they got him.
How much do you think this boy payment is a month?
$1,200.
Higher.
Higher? On a Hellcat?
Higher. Interest rate 16%.
Bro, chill out. Don't tell
Credit
me like
horrible.
Don't tell me like $1,500 for a Hellcat.
Higher.
Man, chill out.
Bro, payment for his car note alone. Car note alone, no insurance. $1,800 a month.
He must want to kill himself.
Bro is married. Bro is married, bro.
What?
He said he come to my cousin complaining, saying, bro, my wife
tripping.
My wife tripping, bro. She talking about we could have bought a house.
It's always the woman tripping on that instance.
She talking about we could have bought a house. I need a car. I need transportation. Bro.
Nigga, you can't live in that.
You're shooting yourself in the foot.
You can't live in a Hellcat, my nigga. $1,800 a month for a car.
For insurance.
Hold on, bro. I just gotta put this into perspective. 1,800 times 12 months. That's $21,600
before insurance.
You know how many months he financed for?
I don't. I didn't ask for those details. I was so frustrated hearing about this man.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, son. If I was his old boy, I'm siding with his wife. Bro, you tripping.
My cousin said, you gotta be the dumbest nigga I ever met.
Is this Kirk?
Yes, you know it's Kirk. And like again, I told y'all, like I come from a background of the family that we buy cars cash for the most part. Like my dad's a mechanic, my
2100.
uncles, they
That
work on
literally
cars.
is a mortgage, bro.
It is. That's why his wife said that. But that is one of the biggest things keeping the middle class down.
How much
Cars
he
are
make a
more
year?
expensive. Not enough to be paying $1,800 a month in a car note. I'll tell you that much. He live in Louisiana.
Is he active reserve? Like, is he active? He on reserve? It's so
They
many
on the
questions.
reserve. They on the reserve, but they
Can we
are
get him on the
full-time.
pod to do a synopsis of his finance?
No, I don't want to talk to that man.
I gotta
'Cause
talk to
from the
that man.
description that my cousin gave you, this dude, it's ignorance, and I
Bro.
ain't got time for it.
$1,800 for a car payment, though.
Yeah, insanity, pure insanity, diabolical, nasty,
Bro, like you could literally be driving
disgusting.
you could be driving a 6-figure car. Like you could be driving not a Lambo, but you could be driving some really nice stuff. Like you could be driving a G-Wagon type stuff. Did he go to like one of these finance pay here?
Bro, I don't know where he went. I just know once he
man.
told me that, I got so frustrated, and I just wanted to get this to the people on the pod, because realistically, guys, again, it just goes to it's an extreme
Yo.
example, but it goes to illustrate this is a wealth killer. This is something that whenever you drive it off the lot, it depreciate 20%.
Y'all, please. I hope he got gap insurance for what.
I pray he got gap insurance, but based
But
on
two.
the description, I don't think so.
But two, y'all, Hellcats are not worth that much. Y'all should not be paying that much for that damn car. I would tell y'all that. Man,
And he got kids. But
you
I digress.
just demoralized me, man.
I'm sorry, man. Like when I say I heard that this weekend, I said, what? Huh? You lying to me? He said, bro, I wish I was. I wish I was lying, but I'm not.
Oh,
I'm not.
Man.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Okay, let's segue into
Moving
this
on,
next thing,
man. So again, with things that's keeping the middle class broke, right? This is something that we kind of alluded to. He in the clip just now too. He mentioned it.
Building wealth is about more than just the money you make. It's about what you leave behind. At Black Wealth Renaissance, we believe in creating lasting legacies for the ones we love. But have you thought about what will happen to your family when you're no longer here? Life insurance isn't just about protection. It's a way to ensure your hard work today keeps working for your family tomorrow. It's your opportunity to leave a legacy that will support their family. Take the next step today. Protect your family, secure their future, and build a legacy you can be proud of. Click the link below to get started today. DoorDash.
Klarna partners with DoorDash, right? To bring
Ooh,
buy now, pay
more
later.
Chipotle. More Five Guys. More
Buy now,
Cava.
pay.
More
So,
Smoothie King.
bro,
More
chill.
Starbucks.
Chill, bro. Chill, bro. So look, Klarna and DoorDash announced that they're gonna have a partnership that's gonna allow users to take out short-term loans to cover their meals and pay it off over time.
Guess what, y'all? The great thing is it's interest free.
Oh my God, right? So initial reaction to hearing this partnership, and my first thoughts immediately are this is going to keep the poor poorer. Because if you don't have the money to buy the food now, why would you finance it?
David, I got the money. I just don't want to pay it up front.
Bro. Monthly payments are the killer of your life. I hate monthly payments.
Facts.
My goal at every point of my life is to
Is to buy
minimize
it
the
out.
amount of money I have to pay somebody every month. Imagine, just think about it. You go DoorDash a meal that costs $10 if you'd have got out your house and went get it your dang self. You pay $25 for it. You decide to split it up over 4 payments over the next month. You do that 4 times a week thinking, oh, it's good. I ain't got no problems with it. You just looking at your bank account, like you said earlier, I got the money. I just don't want to spend it all right now. Well, that's what you're doing what Suzanne, shout out to Suzanne Mariga,
Shout out.
the CPA, she was on an episode of the pod. You doing bank account accounting. You just looking at your account and saying, oh, if I split this up over time, I could keep this money and spend it on something else. And what you fail to realize is the compounding effect is negative on you now. Now you keep splitting up these payments over weeks and months, thinking, oh, it's gonna be cool because I got time to pay it. And now you got 10 payments for $1,250 due on next Friday, and you thought shit was sweet. And now you got
10
all
payments
this.
times $1,250 is $125.
You feel me? So you had 125 come out this Friday, your bills was due. Now you in a predicament because you couldn't delay gratification. You couldn't stay disciplined and eat at your house, eat your groceries that you bought with your hard-earned money that's sitting in your refrigerator. You didn't want to take the time to prepare those. And you thought that it was a better idea to finance a meal. I think this is the dumbest idea that you can do financially. I seen a little thing they had Dave Ramsey. I feel like Dave Ramsey right now because they said, what do you mean you have $11,000 in DoorDash debt? Bro, if I see somebody with some money
if a story like that come out,
bro, I will punch you in the face if you can't talk to me and say something like that.
Son. You wanted to be broke. You deserve to be broke.
You really do.
$11,000 worth of DoorDash. Please tell.
That's extreme, but like realistically, something like this is gonna keep people who are at the bottom really down bad because DoorDash, realistically, and I want to speak to this because they had somebody that was in the comments.
Yeah, I was about to say I wanted to get to that part, right?
Okay.
So, bro, in the comments, he was like, why are y'all judging people for wanting to eat, right? And then someone else was like, DoorDash does deliver more than just fast food, which, once again, I understand. So I had to take a step back because originally, whenever I first thought about this, I was like, damn, this is so stupid. But I had to take a step back. I was like, okay, what about the people that live in food deserts? What if they just need, to DoorDash groceries or whatever, right? What if they need to do this to get their food? My rational thinking is still, though, it would still be smarter just to pay it up front instead of actually financing that. I think that food should be the one thing, which we know a lot of people put food on credit cards and all of these other things, right? But I personally feel like you should just pay that outright, pay that with your cash. You should budget for how much you're going to be spending in your groceries a month. You should know, like you can literally get on ChatGPT and type in, hey, this is how much money I have. This is what I would like to prepare throughout the week from this store. Give me a grocery list. And ChatGPT will spit that out, telling you how much of everything you should buy within that budget. I just feel like you going into debt to over food is quite ridiculous to me.
Yeah. Now you did say something about credit cards, and I do want to bring that up, right? Because that is another valid point and argument for why this is not all the way a bad thing. Because interest rates on credit cards are higher.
Yes.
Right. You're gonna have higher interest rates. And traditionally speaking, I think I looked at a report by the consumer CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Mm-hmm.
They said that between 2019 and 2022, the default ratio on buy now, pay here loans, buy now, pay later loans was 2%, where compared to credit cards, it's 10%. So 10%, it's a worse thing. So realistically, like if you just strap for cash and like you're saying, you're using it for groceries and you're trying to get by, I'm not going to judge and demonize you for trying to get by. But the idea of financing and splitting this over time is doing you more of a disservice than it is doing you a benefit. Even if you're doing it in the short term, and if you're doing it to the point where you're like groceries, I can understand a little bit more if you're using the deals that DoorDash and stuff will get you, because sometimes they'll give you good deals. They'll give you 40% off, 50% off, and you being smart with it, I have no problem. But the real issue is that what we know to be fact is most people aren't going to be smart with it. Most
Man,
people are using DoorDash to buy $10 meals for $20. I talk about this with people
bro,
every
you remember
day.
that last time I used DoorDash when we was in Atlanta? And what did I
Dog,
DoorDash? Was that
dog, it was Jersey Mike's, bro.
bro, I
We
was
got two
so
sandwiches.
hot.
It was $50.
I was so
$50.
hot. I was like, why did I just do this?
After we
Instant
ate the
buyer's
sandwiches,
remorse.
instant regret after eating the sandwich. And I
We
feel like
didn't-
most
we
people feel that.
Yeah, we didn't have a car or anything, so it was late. We just like, did we just land or something, or
I
or
can't
we just
remember the
got done with
exact
something?
circumstances. I think
But
we had just got done. We didn't have a car with us.
yeah,
We wanted something to eat. Um, and it was
but
kind of later too. I want to say it was later, but after
two
taxes and
sandwiches
tip,
for $50 is crazy, crazy. Think about someone doing this for a whole family. Think about some doing this, like you said, 2 to 3 times a week, bro. Like that bill can add up really, really fast. I've never used Klarna or Afterpay, any of those things. So I don't know what that looks like, if they max you out to how much you can borrow with them. I don't really know what any of that looks like. But once again, I just feel like it's a trap, like you said, to keep the poor poorer.
yeah, exactly. And full transparency, I have used those types of things before. When I did maintenance on that BMW,
Gotcha.
I had like but it was for a big purchase. It was like a $6,000 transaction. I put half of it up front and then financed the rest
Gotcha.
and like split it up over 6 months. It wasn't through Klarna, it was through a different program called Sunbit. But I see the advantages of it. Like, but at the same time, on the flip side, 6 months down the road, I was pissed. I was tight. Whenever that money came out in December, I said, nigga, I'm not done with this yet. Golly. Sheesh, how much more do you want from me?
My Shayla.
Jesus. So it's like that's the trap though. Like that's the trap. Whenever you start getting into the habit of financing stuff on buy now, pay later stuff, you can easily forget about those things and fall into that trap of bank account where you look at your money in the present moment and think, oh, I got it. I can do this. Or, oh, if I only spend 15 now, I can spend this later on whatever bill I need. And then a few weeks go by, unexpected things happen. It's life. Things happen. And you put yourself in a negative situation by trying to finance and plan and forecast whenever you really didn't know what was going to happen in the future. So, final thoughts on this for me: don't use the Klarna for DoorDash, especially if you're using it to buy one-time meals. I can kind of validate it if you in the slums or you trying to get it out the mud and you use the deal and you trying to make sure you got your groceries and all that stuff. I can kind of validate it then. But if you using it to do what me and Jalen did in Atlanta, we bought some Jersey Mike sandwiches for $50, and then you double back and put that on a payment plan. Yeah, dog. I'm gonna say it quite candidly. Y'all can skip. I know I done cuss a couple times. You need your ass beat. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Somebody got to put them paws on you, cause you're really, really wilding, dog.
You definitely are wilding. Bet, man. So I think we're done with that topic, man. You got anything else to say on
Nah,
that?
man, that was my final thoughts on it. You ain't had
Bet.
nothing else to add to it.
Nah, man. I just once again, I don't agree with it. I don't think you should do it. Next topic. This is actually a callback to last episode when David self-proclaimed himself being a racist. I don't believe David is a racist. Do I believe that David is pro-black, that David has a strong affinity for black people? Yes. I know that for a fact, but I don't think David is a racist. And I just want to let him know that. And the reason why I don't believe that he is a racist is for a few reasons, right? Textbook
Here we
definition.
go again. Oh my god.
Textbook
I'm tired
definition.
of niggas telling me this, man.
You're not a racist. Like, bro, once again, you could be pro-black and everything. I just don't believe that you're a racist. Like, I don't, whenever I think of true racism, like, it's people who have a utter hatred for like that other race. Do you have a other hatred?
I don't have an utter hatred, but I do have a strong disdain, particularly for the pale people. And I get where you're coming from, man. But at the same time, I feel like Birdman. I like what you're doing, but I don't like how you're doing it, Playboy. You know what I'm saying? Like
So
I've
disdain,
had this.
the definition of disdain, the feeling that someone or something is unworthy of one's consideration of respect. Okay, I understand that. They don't have to have your respect. But once again, I don't think that you're racist. The reason why I say that is, bro, you just inserted 2 clips of 2 white people talking about, one of them talking about the 70s, where you're like, he's got a good show. You should check that out. Then
That was a black dude that has a good show.
no, you were talking about
Steven has a good show. I
Okay.
said Gary has good points. And I don't
And you
just
say you
because I
recently
don't like white people don't mean I can't learn from them. I'm not ignorant. I'm not
and that's
so
what I think the difference is between
I'm
a
not
racist.
ignorant to the point where I can't acknowledge that there's value in some of the things that they know and things that they can relate. Where I am racist is I'm rooting for everybody black. Fuck y'all that ain't black, and I don't care if you don't win. That's
I don't
how
think that
I
I don't
feel.
think that makes you racist though. Once again, that just makes you pro-black. Whenever I think of racism, once again, I think of historically like the shit that they did to black kids, using kids as alligator bait. I think
Bro,
of them burning kids.
we don't have the space. Oh, I've had this debate with people many times, right? And I think too often, whenever we say racist, we
We go
go straight to
extreme.
systemic racism.
Okay. Yeah,
Like
you definitely
systemic
can.
racism, which is the predominant racism that affects us in the world. But racism, and I know you had the dictionary definition pulled up.
I do.
Racism is, in my opinion, you only look out for and operate with the best interest of your people in mind. People who look, sound, and
But I feel
associate
like
with your culture.
almost every race and culture does that though.
And that's why I say black people should be more racist. I feel like black people are the most accepting people out of everyone. We tolerate and we accept and we allow everybody into our communities, and we're like, hey, Habibi, and we wanna include them in our lives. And that's not how this goes, bro. Like whenever it's the shoe is on the other foot, they don't feel that way, and that's why I feel like I feel, and that's why I'm gonna stand on it. Like I don't care.
Okay,
I don't
you
hate
bring that
everybody
part
that's
up.
not black.
So I actually went to a event this weekend that I worked. It was a crawfish festival, and one of the ladies that I was working with, she was just talking about how that event was so diverse because there were white people there, Mexican people there, and she was like, "Man, whenever I go to some of these other events, I definitely don't feel as welcomed." So I can get what you're saying right there. Like I totally agree. We definitely are very accepting, and we also are very forgiving because
Too forgiving. We're
I know that
too forgiving.
I know there are times
Sound like a
like,
Baltimore nigga. Too.
bro, I hate you. I know that there are times like with the shooting that happened in North Carolina, that church. I think some of the victims actually forgave that young man.
What's his name?
That
Dylan Roof,
I'm
the
not
boy
even
that they
calling,
took the
yeah,
Burger
that
King
monster,
afterward.
that
Fuck
that
him.
monster, that they actually forgave the monster that did that horrendous act, right? And there was, so I definitely get you with what you're saying about us being so accepting, us being so forgiving. Once again, I just don't. Whenever I say I don't believe that you're racist, I just don't believe that you'll be like, I want to see them all die. I want to see them all burn in hell or whatever. Like, once again, I guess the systemic side of things, um, I guess is the systemic side of things that I just don't see you actually.
Well, and let me say this, right? And the reason I feel this way is because when I've had this debate with people in the past, a lot of people stand on the fact and believe that black people can't be racist. And I disagree with that vehemently. Like, yes, we can. We can be racist. We can be in a room and say and do racist things to people where we're the predominant force in the room. Now, granted, we are way more accepting, we're way more forgiving than anybody. But I think that is a problem in our community. And we can benefit from being a bit more exclusionary. We can benefit from being a bit more radical and caring of our own and exclusionary of everyone else. So that's just where I am. I feel what you're saying. I do get, like, when we talking textbook definitions, I guess I fall under prejudice, but the word I'm standing on is gonna be racist. If the president can say racist shit, I can say racist shit. Let's keep it pushing.
This guy here. So this actually segue into our next topic. And our next topic, I actually got this idea whenever I was looking at something from 19 Keys that he put it on his Instagram. And while I say this segues, is because 19 Keys posted a tweet, and the tweet says, Black America isn't behind because we failed. It's because we were targeted. Remove COINTELPRO, redlining, mass incarceration, crack, assassinations, destruction of 60 plus towns, and we'd be running our own trillion dollar nation by now. He also then says no other group in America had to survive black codes, convict leasings, Jim Crow, redlining, sundown towns, COINTELPRO, assassination of leaders, crack epidemic, mass incorporation, school segregation.
Incarceration.
I'm sorry, mass incarceration.
Incarceration. I got you.
I got you. Mass incarceration, school segregation, destruction of our 60 plus black towns, GI Bill exclusions, FHA loan denials, police lynchings, media demonization, and land theft from black farmers. And we actually talked about the land theft in a few episodes ago about that older couple where they're trying to steal their land, and that just sparked a lot of thought in my head. Like, damn, bro, really is right. A lot of the times whenever we talk about wealth in the black community, we point it towards, oh, we just don't want, or is because, quite frankly, niggas is acting like niggas. Like, we just want to get money, cars, and chains. We just want to, act like drug dealers, or we want to glorify the drug dealers. When in actuality, it is because we were targeted. And historically, this is something me and you spoke about earlier this week. The period of Reconstruction, right after,
Between 1865 and the early 1900s, we
black
was on them.
yeah, like black people were able to amass so much wealth. Once again, I always suggest people to go read Black Fortunes. Black Fortunes actually talks about building wealth
The
within
first
that.
six black
Yeah,
millionaires to
within
escape slavery.
well, not all of them escaped slavery, I don't think. Did they all escape slavery?
They were some a slave, former slaves, some
But
were
some
Jim
of them
Crow.
were
Yeah.
like right out of slave, like Jim Crow era. But it
One
is,
generation
yeah,
removed.
but it is like within that Reconstruction period. Even given the story about Black Wall Street, right? So they speak about those things and how these black people were able,
O.W. Gurley.
yes, sir, how these black people were able to amass wealth. And then it's always, every time we begin to pull ahead, something happens to where we're targeted, we're chopped down. So I get what you're saying, bro. Like, yes, a lot of us are accepting. A lot of these things all happen because a white person was involved, and they were hating on black people. They didn't want to see black people succeed. They didn't think that black people were smart enough to succeed, and they saw the success that they were having. So now they was like, hey, we either got to go burn that town down, we got to go drop some bombs, we got to say that they raped this white girl, we got to say that they got it illegally, any one of those things. So once I really thought about it, it's like, damn, Black people really do come from a rich, rich history of resilience, of always building ourselves up. And even whenever he talked about the assassination of leaders, right? Whenever we really think about Black leaders in our community, when was the last time we had truly, truly great Black leaders?
The 60s.
There's a few, but they never got to the era of what the 60s were, where they were able to command audience of thousands of thousands of thousands of people and actually come up with these ideas and spark these different what is the word that I'm looking for? Spark these revolutionary movements, right? And plant seeds, showing us how to move together and get things accomplished. So that tweet really just made me think about a lot. And then, as I was talking earlier about the movie, The Banker actually kind of solidified that for me. I watched it yesterday, actually. And The Banker, so basically, what the movie is about, it's about Bernard Garrett. Bernard Garrett was actually a real estate investor. Um, he was born in Willis, Texas in 1929. He ended up moving to Inglewood, California in 1958. After moving to Inglewood, California, he began investing in real estate by partnering actually with a white man. So he was so good at numbers, like bro could like run down the cap rate, everything. Like if you just told him, hey, this is the building, this is the vacancy, this is whatever, whatever, bro would spit it out like a calculator, like just hey, this is what it is. And he was so determined that he was getting like doors shut on him for buying his first piece of property that he really wanted to purchase. So he went behind the back of the man who was selling it to his banker, and he convinced his banker to actually lend him the money to buy the bank from the guy that was selling it. And the guy that was selling it actually saw something in him, so he ended up doing a 50-50 partnership with him. But bro ended up, the white man ended up dying. His wife was racist. His wife was like, I don't want to share anything with you. You're not entitled to 50%.
Of course.
She wanted to sell it to him for pennies on a dollar.
Of
And whenever he
course.
looked at it, he was like, hell no. But the thing is, his name wasn't on any of the documents because of the time that it was in. It was just
Mhm.
a verbal. It was just a verbal contract. So she was like, I really don't owe you anything. I'm really doing you a service. I don't know what they settled for, but he did end up ending that partnership. But he ended up going into another partnership with a Black real estate company, and they bought the largest building in downtown Los Angeles. They bought the Bankers building in downtown Los Angeles, and that housed like 4 to 6 different banks within that building, and that kind of started their empire. After they did that, um, they ended up purchasing, from what I read on the movie at the end of the clip, by the height of their empire, they owned 177 different real estate portfolios, including over 100 like residential apartment buildings and everything like that, making them two of the richest Black men within the 1950s. Um, by 1954, Garrett was worth $1.5 million. His downfall, though, came from whenever he went back to Texas and purchased a small town bank. He purchased a small town bank from a white family where the father was exiting the building, but the son had been in the banking industry since he was yay high.
Mhm.
And he used the white man as a front man to actually buy the bank. That's how he was buying a lot of his properties. He
You
wasn't
had to
just,
at the time.
yeah, he wasn't actually buying he was using the white man as a front
Shit, you
man
still
to
gotta
buy.
do it some of these days. Sometimes these
That's
days.
that's the crazy thing. I actually wanted to get into that. But yeah, he was using the white man to front the property, front buying the property, right? So he did the same thing for buying this small town bank. And at first everything was good, but then he started loaning to Black people, Black businesses in his area. And the son who was in the bank, he started paying attention to it. It took him a little while for him to understand what was going on, but after that, he kind of tricked them. He did all kind of shit. They ended up going to the court. They ended up getting arrested. They did some federal time. They seized all of their properties. They lost it all. Once again, all because the guy that was fronting them, he actually wanted to own a bank too. So he kind of like got really antsy. He messed up a lot. He did a lot of stupid shit. So it really just came down to a white man crippling their whole empire, bro.
And again, you ask me why, or I'm not. But I digress. Man, listen, it was an interesting thing that I seen on IG this week. It was a quote from a pod. I can't remember the exact pod where a brother was quoting Jesse Jackson, where he said, anytime that the rules are level and out there in the open for everyone to see, black folks are able to excel. It's only in those arenas where things are hidden and things are put out of the public eye that we aren't able to reach the pinnacles of success. I think athletics is a great example of that. Was integration was introduced into sports, black people took over because the rules were set and everybody knew the rules and everybody could study the rules and everybody was observing. So you had to be objective. Your prejudices couldn't play as big of a role. And we still face that to this day in different arenas. But when I hear that story, I just think about that. Like, if he was able to do this without a front man, what type of empire would he have been able to build?
Bro with it. Yeah, his literally in the movie, like the guy who was convicting him, the federal prosecutor is like, you just wasn't happy being the richest man, like being so rich in California. You had to come stick your nose in the hierarchy of Texas or whatever. Basically, like, you can't make changes and all of this shit. Which actually 3 years after they were convicted, there was a law put into place that basically changing, you can't deny someone for buying or purchasing property in a business based on the skin color and everything like that. So,
Yeah. And like when I think about these things, right? There's a lot of trauma associated with these types of conversations. And I think that type of trauma goes far, far into the roots of black people's psychology when it
mhm,
comes to wealth building and money. And
facts.
I think
That's something Rakim Sabri talks about a lot.
yeah, shout out to Rakim. We had him on the show. He's a expert on financial trauma. But where it presents to me is like symptoms that we see in the community are things like materialism, where we feel like because people in our community don't really often have it, and once you have it, you have to show you have it, and you find your self-worth in external things
Mm.
and things that validate your standing, your ability to build wealth. You have to show it. I always quote that line in Kanye's song. It's in
They
Black
made
Man's
us hate
Soul.
ourselves. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. They made us hate ourselves and love
and
their
love
wealth.
their wealth.
The other bar is, yeah, it's in a black man's soul to rock that gold or show that gold or something like that.
It's in a black man's soul to rock that gold.
Rock that gold, right? Like that in itself to me is the antithesis of us building wealth, because we always feel the need to show, and that comes from generations of us having to hide it
Hmm.
or having to play the background. So it's like, no, I want to pop it now that I got it. I want to pop it. And I think what that does is create like a negative feedback loop where people who are on the come up feel the need to do that as well, because it also breathed another another manifestation of that negative trauma, and that's self-hate. A lot of black people are the
Facts.
biggest haters of black people. They don't want to see other ones win. They have this there can only be one mentality.
I hate that.
And you've seen it. We work in the corporate world. You see it where there's people who go into this assimilation mentality where they adapt and conform to the standards of what that world is, right? I mean, if we're just being realistic, we're both brothers with locks.
Hmm.
That puts a limit on you in certain arenas. Like there are certain aspects of blackness that while they may be
Oh,
fetishized and
I'm
eroticized,
black, but I'm not that black.
yeah, like they're not looked at in a positive way. And black people, yeah, like they have this negative connotation about other black folks. And it really creates again just like this they feed into the system that continually perpetuates us being at the bottom. Another aspect of it I see is like the whole idea of like I don't see color or like I'm not all my friends are this and I don't believe racism is a thing. It's like bro, you're so far gone into this assimilation mindset that you don't realize at the end of the day you still a nigga to them.
Yeah.
If we just keeping it a buck and like you even if you trying to conform and play that respectability politics game where you're like like Jalen just said, I'm black, but I'm not that type of black. I'm not ghetto. I'm not this. I don't speak in this way. I don't do this. And there's nothing wrong with speaking proper. There's nothing wrong with enunciating and carrying yourself a certain way. But the issue is whenever you put other people down who don't move and operate in the same way as you. I think a lot of those mentalities are negative when it comes to our ability to build wealth because it encourages and well, it discourages us from working together. Uh, it makes us individualistic and we lack the idea of unity as a community where people really, really, really are willing to put the greater interest of the community above themselves. And I think, as you get knowledge of these types of things, all the challenges that we faced, all the things that our people had to overcome, that knowledge of self makes you more aware. And
Hmm.
that awareness is what leads to the ability to grow and educate yourself and break past those mental barriers. So I just think that it's very important that like what Jalen just shared about this and like a lot of the things and challenges that we face that you spend time educating yourself on your wealth building journey because that knowledge of self will do wonders whenever you come to learn how the world works and operates and your place and role in it as a black person.
I think that's very interesting because I think a lot of the times, especially growing up black, sometimes we try to shrink ourselves to fit into the world
Mm-hmm.
when we shouldn't be doing that. I've found myself doing that before, right? But at one point, I got to a point where I was like, I really don't care because being me is actually a superpower. I've said this before on the podcast. Being black is a superpower. It makes me different. It makes me think different. It makes me operate different. It's okay for you to be loud sometimes, right? I feel like everything has its time and its place, but it's okay for you to not have to conform to the world and make the world conform around you. I think that should happen more often. I think that you should actually just not conforming to the world, making the world conform around you. It's okay for you to be yourself. It's okay for you to be different. being different makes you stand out. And I think a lot of people do have that self identity crisis, especially growing up black in certain areas. You find like, man, I can't do this one thing and be successful at this. Like bro, the hood golfing, bro. I love him, man. I
Yeah, because he's
love him
himself.
so much,
He's
bro. Like
himself.
he
You
just
don't
go to,
have to be them to do to be a good golfer
yeah,
and to indulge in that culture. You can still be authentically you without having to conform. And I think that that's really the point you're getting at, right? You don't have to diminish who you are or where you're
yeah.
from just so that you can
Like if
be a
you want to be
part
a
of it.
swimmer and you black and you good at it, go swim, hop out, talk that shit to him, win the race, and keep on going.
It's simple as that. It's a mentality thing. So as said, man, I really think again, my final thought on it, man, knowledge of self is key. Carter G. Woodson said it in Miseducation of the Negro. If you raise a man to believe that he is not worthy and he should go to the back door, you don't have to tell him no more. You will automatically go there yourself because that's how you feel about yourself. Educate yourself about who you are, where you come from, and it will liberate your mind in ways that you wouldn't think when it comes to operating in this system, in this world that we live in.
When most people think of life insurance, they think of death benefits. But did you know life insurance can also help you build wealth while you're still alive? With cash value policies, like whole life or universal life insurance, you're not just leaving a legacy, you're building one. These policies grow over time with tax-deferred cash that you can access for things like retirement, emergencies, or even investments. Plus, living benefits can protect you during life's most unexpected moments, like critical illness or disability, giving you the financial flexibility you need when you need it most. It's not just insurance. It's a tool in your financial tool belt. Visit the link below to learn more and start building wealth today. Sure.
Indeed.
Let's move
All right.
to
Moving
our next
on.
topic.
Some a little lighter, but things kind of serious still, right? So I'll let you take it, bro.
So this one's actually gonna be gonna be on mortgage payments and escrows. So actually this is something I see in the Facebook group in my community pretty often. Every time around this time of the year, people are like, yo, my mortgage just went up by like $1,500, $1,200. What the hell is going on? Right? So what happens is around this time of the year, taxes are assessed, land values are assessed. Sometimes insurance rates are being renewed, insurance policies are being renewed, and then escrow is actually being assessed as well. So many first-time home buyers are getting blindsided with a mortgage payment increase by hundreds or thousands due to property taxes. Mortgage rates increased by $1,500 a month. It's actually a video.
Yeah, so look, I got it pulled up already. I'm gonna just go
I
ahead and
got
play
you.
this. This is a clip from a gentleman who is sharing his experience where his mortgage increased by $100 a month. Let's tune in.
To you. You can have it. If you own a newly constructed home or you're buying a newly constructed home, stay here. So tell me how I signed a document with all the documents signed, your payment 1907, and you signed 1,000,000 documents. Now a year later, they hit me up in February talking about your payment is $34.50. I bet it ain't. I bet it's not. So the first year when you buy your home, your newly constructed home, they're only charging you for the taxes, the property taxes on the land, the raw land. Well, the land was only worth $60,000. Well, now that the house has been put on it and now there's a development around you, that now that land this year is worth $110,000 and they put a 400 and something, almost $500,000 house on top. So now your taxes are going to go to correct. So now your mortgage is going to increase. Now, when they done tell you got a fixed rate, you got a fixed payment and all, they not explaining to you that the property taxes will increase that payment. My payment went up to $34.50. How? Because I can pack up the house and give it back to you. You can have it. Like, so so they send a little letter. I called because with this letter, don't send no letter when you talking about my money. I called a lady. The lady basically telling me, yeah, somebody should have told you that. They didn't tell me, ma'am. And that's another thing. Your realtors, some realtors, they gonna comment. I tell my clients that was your realtor's fault. That was your okay, but we not here for that. I'm here for the people that if y'all have experienced this or if y'all about to experience this because it's y'all first house in y'all newly constructed home. The taxes is not right. Pay extra. Pay extra. Let me tell you how crazy it was, because when I signed the paperwork, they said your payment, like the lender was, my loan originator was like, your payment gonna be $24.07, but when we got to the paperwork, it was $19.07. So then I said, hey, it's supposed to be 24. You said, he said, no, don't even worry about it. That I always overbid, so when you get here, I can give you good news. And I'm over here giving him brownie points, sending him edible arrangements and shit. And nigga, you knew it was supposed to be $2,400 because the taxes, you didn't say that. So now I'm paying $19.07, happy as hell, paying $19.07, and then the next year come in, and I gotta pay because the escrow didn't have no money. They done paid the taxes for me, sir. Lender, I didn't ask you to pay the tax. Don't pay the taxes on my behalf. You better call me and tell me my escrow was low. So they done paid the taxes. Now they talking about I owe them $34.50 a month for the next 3 years, or I can come out of my pocket 17, 18. We is struggling. The county, the city, the states, America is down. I can pack up the house and give it back to you.
Man,
No lie.
crazy work, bro. Crazy work. So to speak on what he was talking about there, right? He had a new build home, right? And a lot of times whenever people are getting these new build homes and they're in these subdivisions and things like that, the first time that they're assessing these taxes is actually just based on the land, like he shared. So it's gonna be cheaper because the value of the land itself is not what
As
it is
much.
whenever everything is built up on it. And where they really did him dirty is, especially if he's like in a community where he's not the only home there, they probably had comps that they could have accurately assessed his taxes based on.
Either
But
that or he was one of the first people to buy, so they didn't really have comps.
even if that's the case, right? They didn't have comps. You still could have probably estimated for the value of the home instead
That's
of
what
just
it
the
sounds
value
like he
of the
said
property.
the lender did, though. The lender did estimate for the 20 something, but whenever he got to the closing table, they told him instead of paying 24, you about to have to pay 19.
And he went for it.
Yeah.
Tragic. It's crazy to see like this happen to people, because I'm starting to see it more and more where people are kind of coming online and talking about it, because property taxes are a big thing, right? Every year your land's value is reassessed, like Jalen was just saying. As we've seen over the last few years, real estate prices have skyrocketed. We talked about, I think last week or the week before, how the price of starter homes increased drastically, where in the, I want to say, like 5 years ago,
Since
starter home you could get,
2018 or 2019, it was
so like
100.
7 years ago you get a starter home for like 180K,
Yes,
and
sir.
now starter homes are close to 300K.
Yes, sir.
So that vast jump, you have to pay taxes on that. And a lot of people, where they're getting blindsided, especially the people who bought 2 or 3 years ago, we've seen real estate prices rise drastically since then. And they got locked into these low interest rate loans. And people hear fixed mortgage and they think fixed mortgage means fixed payment. But a lot of times they don't account for the escrow, for the taxes and the insurance. And as we know, both of those things have been going crazy lately, right?
Both have
Taxes
a
and
tend to
insurance,
fluctuate.
they have a tendency to fluctuate, especially with a lot of insurance goes based on risk, right? Right now, I don't know if you keep up with the weather, but there's a lot of risk going on. Insurance companies like to mitigate risk. They want to insure things that they don't have to actually pay for.
And
Newsflash, if you didn't know, they don't want to pay for it. I'm an insurance adjuster. They really don't want to pay for it. That's why these policies are written the way they're written. It has to be very specific, accidental, sudden, direct physical loss. And your premiums go up every time you file a claim.
And the worst part is your premiums don't go up every time you file a claim. It also goes up for whenever your area files a claim. So your home could have been undamaged and untouched. But if you got 50 homeowners around you or 100
got damaged by
homeowners
hail,
around you
they all
that
got
all
new
got
roofs.
hams, you're also going to be affected by it as well.
It's crazy. So like the taxes, the insurance is one side of it, and then there are the taxes. Anytime their development, anytime these homes are selling, these appraisers come out, they determine the values of the home. If a comparable home to yours, same floor plan, sells for $100,000 more, and 2 or 3 of those happen in your neighborhood, guess what your home value is? It went up by $100,000, and you're gonna have to pay taxes on that increase in value. And it's not done directly by you; it's gone through escrow. So, kind of what he was saying, the reason his payment increased by $1,500 a month was because there was a shortage over that time.
Yeah.
He paid the $1,900 for the year, and he really probably should have been paying the 24, like he said originally, right?
He should have been paying that 24 for sure.
Even if he would have been paying the 24, he still would have had a shortfall because the values of the properties increased.
Yeah.
But and I think the real part of it that a lot of us as consumers need to consider is that when it comes to these realtors and these builders, a lot of these people ain't your friend. I tell people this all the time as an adjuster. I tell people this all the time. Your contractor has a financial incentive. He has a financial incentive to lie to you. Point blank, period. And this is no knock on good contractors. I know somebody's going to hear this and be like, I don't do this. I'm an honest businessman. Shout out to you. I run across a lot of great contractors. But there are people who will lie to you so they can get your money. Man, hold these people accountable. You know what I used to
say? Con man is in contract.
Can't spell contract without con. You ain't never lied. I tell people that all the time, and they get a good chuckle out of that one. But you need to hold these people accountable. Ask the hard questions. If somebody's telling you something like, oh, it was supposed to be 24, but now it's 19, why? Why did that decrease? Because nothing in this world is free. It may sound good in the moment, but is it good long term?
Yeah, you just overestimated. What made you overestimate that, Mitch? What were your estimations based on? Right? Like,
these are the questions you need to be asking.
Facts. And then you also need to be paying attention on what's happening around you, right? What is going to be increasing the value of your home? If you're seeing sprawl happening, which is basically economic development.
They building stores.
Yeah, if you're seeing stores coming up. Yeah, if you're seeing stores coming up, you're seeing schools, you're seeing walking paths, you're seeing all of these things just mysteriously popping up in your area. You might need to be like, hey, should I do something about this or should I be concerned? And then if you are concerned, you can actually do what's called an escrow analysis. You can get an escrow analysis to see if you're actually paying more, paying less, and then you can make the necessary adjustments that you need to instead of being blindsided at a later time.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I want to play a clip from
Malik,
former podcast episode, my boy Malachi.
Why I keep on calling bro Malik? Malachi.
I don't know, man. You got to put some respect on my boy name, man. Put some respect on his name.
Big Malachi.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So we had Malachi on a little over a year ago. One of the last episodes recorded in person. Definitely go check this out. Very knowledgeable, man. And in the clip, he actually shares some ways that you can minimize your tax liability. So I'm going to get that pulled up for us, guys.
First thing you want to do is file a homestead exemption. Okay. So that's basically the government saying, we're going to give you a break against your value. You don't have to pay tax on the full value. They recently passed a law change in Texas. I think the new break might be up to $100,000. I'm going off memory on the value of your home. So instead of paying tax on 200,000, you might only pay on 100,000. The amount's going to vary depending on the house, but either way, you're going to get an exemption on that amount. That's step one. So that knocks your tax base down. Step two, when you buy the house, they're going to send you the taxing authority. They're going to send you a letter or something, nice little letter in the mail saying, hey, congrats on your new home. Why don't you send us information showing what you paid for it? Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't they already have that information?
No, they do not. They
Sound
don't
like a
have
setup.
that information.
They don't know how much you paid for
They
it?
do not know how much you paid.
Really?
No, they don't. That they ask you to give it to them. You don't have to give it to them. We don't dry snitch. You make them do the work to figure out what they think you paid for the house. But they're going to ask you, hey, send us a closing statement showing what you paid. Send us an appraisal. Send us whatever. Send us pictures. Yeah. No, I'm not sending you anything.
Y'all figure it out y'all own.
That's crazy.
That's step two. Let them figure it out. Step three is to protest every single year. Every single year. Like less than 20% of the people protest.
Really?
You heard it there, guys. Malachi just said it. These are 3 steps that you could take to make sure you're combating and lowering your property taxes for everybody that is in a situation. Highly suggest if you have not heard that episode, you go back and listen to it. I don't have the episode number pulled up, but his name is Malachi Sims. It's an awesome episode. A lot of great gems in there about real estate investing and opportunity zones.
Also, I want to tell y'all, fuck being loyal to them insurance companies.
Switch
Them
every opportunity
insurance
you have.
companies do not give you any loyalty points, any loyalty programs. I done
promise
seen
you they
plenty
don't.
of people. I've been with them for 30 years.
This is my first claim denied. Let me
They
tell you
do
something I
not
tell
care.
people every day, right? Ignorance does not absolve you from the provisions of this policy. Just because you didn't know and nobody told you, don't mean that it doesn't apply.
Facts. And why I said the loyalty part is if you can go find a cheaper rate with the same amount of coverage, the same thing, go get it. Go get
Shop
it.
around.
Because they legally have to pay you for whatever is in that contract. So go ahead, shop around, change insurance companies. If you got to change every damn year to keep your bill at a certain rate, to keep your mortgage at a certain rate, go ahead, change every damn year.
Indeed. Also, quick sidebar. Boy, look at my locks, boy. You see me in that little clip, boy? I look at you, boy. My stuff wasn't even on my little ears, boy. Look at me, boy. I got twisted my stuff. Now look at me. That boy hating, boy. Look at I look fly. I look
am hating
good.
because
Yeah.
I'm still on a little journey with mine.
Hey, man. But shout out to Malachi. If you guys, or anybody out there is dealing with a situation similar to that, definitely take heed to the advice given. Use those things to help combat and mitigate some of those costs, right? Because it's going to cause you financial harm in the long run if you allow these mortgage rates to run. And make sure you're doing your due diligence. Get a good realtor. Don't let these builders bullshit you. Make sure you not just paying an arm and a leg in insurance, and protest them property taxes, man. Protest them taxes. Don't let these people run you out your house because you can't afford these taxes.
Facts.
Cool deal, man. Moving on, next topic. This one is an interesting one that I came across. Black men are not choosing HBCUs.
I'm guilty.
Interesting, right? So I didn't go to HBCU.
I'm guilty.
Yeah, I didn't go to HBCU. I was HBCU adjacent. I actually got offered a much larger scholarship to go to an HBCU, but it was for an agriculture degree, and I didn't want to do that. Slight regret, not gonna lie.
I was to say, knowing what you know now.
Yeah, slight regret. Them boys offered me a bag. It was like $100,000 scholarship.
Yeah.
Dude that had the scholarship came meet me and everything, trying to convince me to go. He's like, bro, I'm getting refund checks, $8K a semester.
Yeah, David, you
I
was
didn't do
tripping,
it.
bro.
I was tweaking. Hindsight 2020. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, right? So
You know
according
what
to a
you could have
study,
done for 8K a semester?
stop it! Don't remind me, nigga. I'm mad about it every now and again. I be mad about that stuff when I be thinking. I'm like, bro, I should have not listened to my mama and should have just went to the school. I should have just listened. I should have did what I wanted. I should take the money. Take the money. When it comes to school, take the money, guys. Go wherever they give you the most bread. Everything else is really not that relevant. Your experience and all that. I promise you, college is what you make of it. It's not where you go.
There's always gonna be a party.
It's what you make of it. It's not where you go. But again, into this real quick. So according to the American Institute for Boys and Men, in 1976, black men accounted for 38% of HBCU students. Today, they account for only 26% of the HBCU population. When you hear this number, what do you think is the driver behind this, Jalen?
Of the fall of HBCUs?
Yeah, like why aren't black men choosing HBCUs? Why didn't you as a black man choose a HBCU?
Quite frankly, I felt like I would not have succeeded. I would have flunked out, honestly. I felt like I would have been partying way too much and I would have not got out of college.
Interesting.
That was my honest to God. And then also the only eight, it was like two HBCUs that I really wanted to attend. One of them was Southern, but that
Because
was
you a
like,
band head.
yeah, I would have for band. But I probably would have, if I would have went to Southern, I probably would have tried to go through their law
Program.
program. But again, it was too close for home for me. Like I would have been able to like just come home, and I just didn't want that. I wanted to actually get away a break. The other school that I would have liked to go to is Xavier in New Orleans. I wanted to go for pre-med over there, but nigga, I did not do what I needed to do to get a scholarship over there.
And Xavier is mad expensive. It's
Mad
mad
expensive,
expensive. Yeah,
bro.
that school's high. Yeah, so flipping the same question on
In
me.
sophomore semester, I was so ready to go, but my junior senior year, oh man, bad decisions, bro. Bad decisions for me.
Flipping the same question on me. I'd say that a lot of it is the social stigma around HBCUs. I think HBCUs are a great place because they allow black people to be in an environment that we typically don't see. I went to Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech, for those that don't know, is 5 minutes up the road from Grambling. The GSU where everybody is somebody. And let me tell you, everybody is somebody at GSU. Like you had a cast of characters over there. Uh they had one girl, she was known for wearing light up sneakers. Like it's just random shit, right? just random shit, bro. But like it was a
The
lot of
fact that
negative.
you know that she was known for light up sneakers is crazy.
Like, bro, I would spend a little time on Graham campus. It's 5 minutes up the road, you know what I'm saying? But it's a great environment because there's nothing like it in society at, where you can be surrounded by blackness. It's very rare in society that you have that. But that's also something that discouraged me from attending HBCU
So you're not as
because
racist as you said you were.
I am racist still, but it discouraged me from attending an HBCU because it doesn't mirror reality. The real world, as much as I would like to operate in this idealistic world where it's a black utopia, that's just not facts. It's not facts. The world we operate while operating, we're 14%
At
of
least
the
in
population in
America.
America. Yeah, in America, we're 14% of the population. It's the country I intend on living in. I grew up in towns where, you know, it was pretty much always just black and white, 50-50 kind of. Opelousas, Church Point, they have
Motel.
heavy black populations. They have heavy
Yeah.
black populations, but it's still a lot of white folks. So I didn't want to put myself in a place where I would create blind spots to seeing, how those people operate. I didn't really leverage the white side of the PWI. I still kind of clung to the black community while I was there. But I will say that it was a lot of it also was the negative stigma about academic performance with
Mm.
HBCUs. Um, from my experience, HBCUs had lower standards to let people in, which can be a good and a bad thing. Because what it allowed was people who typically wouldn't get into college opportunity. But again, that could be a good and a bad thing because some of these niggas didn't need to go to college. I had teammates in high school. One of my boys came up to me said, "Hey Dave, I made
I
a
got a
13 on the
16. I
ACT."
thought you was gonna say you got a 60.
That nigga said he got a 13. Hey, is that good? I said, nah, homie, that's terrible.
Bro, I
That's
thought the
awful.
lowest you could get was a 16.
Bro had a 13. He said, that's bad. And I said, yes, that's real bad, bro. I
Bro
ain't gonna
got
lie.
credit
Like
for writing his name.
I said, bro, that's real bad. Like I don't think you'll get in nowhere. But the only schools that accepted him were HBCUs. Now, there were like 5 or 6 guys that were like that. A few of them graduated. They're doing real well. But more than half of them
So you
just went get
judged a
student
book
loan
by a
debts.
cover.
More than half of them just went get student loan debt and then dropped out after a year and a half. So it's like give and take, right? Give and take. Um, I think less black men in general are choosing to go to college because they see how it has affected most black men who have gone to college. The accumulation of debt is not helping anyone in most places. All my little cousins, I talk to my little cousins all the time. I got a few cousins that are like younger than 18 or younger, 20 or younger. They all are going into the trades
I was
each and
actually
every
just
one.
about to say, now what does that number look like for vocational and trade schools? How many
I don't
black
have
people
that
are
number.
actually attending? Quick Google search. So let's Google
Yeah.
it.
I feel like the number is increasing because I feel like less people are seeing the benefit of going to college in general, not just HBCUs. But I do think that HBCUs still have a place in that college ecosystem. I loved going to Grambling and enjoying everything about it. I think it created a lot of opportunities for people. Louisiana Tech had a program where you could take classes there, and some people leveraged that. But again, to the negative side, they took the classes that were too hard at Tech at Grambling because they were easier. It's like, it's I'm on the fence with it, but I'm not mad at the idea that more black men aren't choosing to go to HBCUs, especially if they're going to into the trades as an alternative. Because I think at this current juncture in America, going to college doesn't make sense for most people, especially if you're not getting some type of financial support from the school. If you don't have a scholarship, if you're not getting Pell Grants and TOPS in Louisiana or whatever state funding or aid that you can get, or you don't have a parent who set up a 529, yeah, it's not a good decision unless you're picking a degree with a good ROI.
Mm. I did pull up some data, and this is from collegefactual.com. It's two websites that I just looked up. So American Trade School ratio is 98% men, 2% women. And according to the demographics, by number, 40% black or African American students make up 40% of trade schools.
Which is a higher percentage than what we represent in the population. So again, I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it. I think the trades have a good place. I think though a lot of the trades are things that aren't going to be easily replaced by technology. Um, I'm not mad at it. I don't see it as necessarily a bad thing that less black men are choosing HBCUs. But y'all let us know in the comments or show notes.
Facts. Um, that's all I got on that subject. You got anything
Cool.
else?
Nah, that's it for me. All right, moving on to some bullshit. So this week, we had some nonsense go viral on the net, right? And I just want to get your thoughts on it, bro. I'm about to get it pulled up.
Talk to me, brother.
Man, this was a video that went uber viral over the weekend. It is
this guy.
swole black man who posted his ridiculous morning routine and had everybody talking and mocking. So let's just look at this real quick.
So we're going to be serious about the Lord's business.
What is the point of doing that?
I have no idea why niggas keep putting their face in bowls of water.
With ice in it. If anybody knows
what's the benefit?
Bowls running fast.
Yeah, they was thinking that part. They're frozen in the banana peel on the face.
So looking at it, bro, we got to go ahead and get in at least 10,000. Thank you.
I ain't gonna lie. Bro got a lot done in that little short span, man.
So I think the most interesting part about it is a lot of people said bro woke up at 4 a.m. to spend 6 hours bullshitting. And if that's what bullshitting looks like to people, that's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. Because bro did meditation, listened to a sermon, read a book, went work out like 3-4 freaking times.
And the part to me
stuck his face in a bowl of water, which I don't understand. If like anybody knows what is the benefit of sticking your face in ice water, tell me, please. Help me, please.
Why he rubbed that banana peel on his face too? I don't get it. But what I do think all this is incredible marketing and rage bait for people. This video went uber viral. I wouldn't be surprised if bro had like a sponsorship with that water company or something like that, just because of the way the bottle was placed in camera.
Actually, I heard that water company is actually like on the rise. Like their sales spike like 9% or some shit like that.
Just because of how viral this went, right? And this is not a serious topic by any means, any way, shape, or form, right? But the idea of a morning routine, I think, is something that gets lost every now and again. Like I don't have a set morning routine. And I think this is a very unrealistic one. But content is content. And in today's day and age, content is king. What he did with this video and the amount of people that it touched is awesome. Like this is really something that people should look at from a different lens. Anytime you make content, engagement is engagement, whether people are clowning you or not. I don't think it's a problem that people can clown you with their content, because for every 3 or 4 people that's clowning you, you got 10 people that actually support or like what you did. I've always been a proponent of the idea that the people who criticize the loudest. The people who support you do it in silence.
You ain't lying. They definitely do. It's always the people who criticizing that's about to share these things, about to get these jokes off. But the people who actually support you, they're going to like it, keep on going on about their day. They might actually implement some of those things into their day. I'm not sticking my face in no bowl of cold water, bottled water.
Man, do it, man. It might change your life, bro. Do it one day.
You go first.
Nah, man, I ain't got money to be buying bottled water to put my face in it. That's insanity.
Yeah, I'm straight on that,
But
my brother.
yeah. All right, guys. Again, thank you for tuning in to another installment of the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. We hope you were able to leave us some gems, some value. Um, do us a favor if you enjoyed, you here to the end. For one thing, you know we love you. You are peoples. Like if you rocking with us, you listening to us right now, you really a wealthy person. And
Yes, sir.
we want to see you win. But like my brother was gesturing with his hands, give us that
Five-star
five
rating.
star, 5-star rating and review. You know what we do. We
Maximum
definitely
stars.
we want to get any feedback, anything that you guys want to hear or see from us. Y'all let us know, and we'll do the best that we can to deliver. We got more content coming for you soon, more things down the pipeline. So y'all just stay tuned, stay tapped in, and we're gonna go all the way to the top. Let my brother take us out with that wealth prayer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lord, I come to you as a humble servant. Once again, thank you for allowing us to record this show. Thank you for allowing us to put it out to the masses. We just ask that you continue to use us as tools and instruments to carry out your message. We ask that you allow everybody who comes in contact with this information to take something away with it. We ask that you allow this to impact and enhance their lives. We ask that you allow them to impact and enhance their financials. We ask that you allow them to broaden their mindset, to broaden their spirituality. We ask that you allow them just to grow in all areas and all facets of life, Heavenly Father. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen, amen, and amen. Yes, indeed, y'all. From his lips to God's ears, as always. Until next time, this is BWR signing out. Peace.